Let me start with a small confession. I broke up with my cello, and it still hurts. Now, before I continue with my cello, I would like to ask for a small favor. Please think about a hobby that you once did, and you were decent at, and you liked, but eventually you stopped. So think about it, keep it on the back of your mind. We will come back to it. All ready? When I was 6 years old, my family and I moved from Turkey to Belgium due to my father's job. There, I went to the International School of Brussels, and I took mandatory cello lessons. Now, here's the truth. I don't know how old I am here, 9, 10, 11. I was put into a music room, and they asked me to select an instrument, and all these cool-looking things that I didn't know how they sounded, so I went for the most familiar one, the one that kind of looked like a guitar. So I became a cellist. Now, I wasn't super passionate, I wasn't that good, but I was a good student. So I practiced, I worked hard, and eventually I played in a few school concerts. Now, time passed, and we moved back to Turkey. And on our first week back, my mother asked me a simple question. She said, "Son, would you like to continue playing the cello?" I immediately said no. No, because of two things. One, it was kind of like math, like science. I had to take it. I was getting grades for it. So if I could get rid of it, why not? Two, I had hit some invisible ceiling. My cello skills were not really improving anymore. So it was the perfect time to let go. Now, 10 years later, I was at a classical music concert with my grandfather. The lights dimmed, the orchestra began to play, and when the cello section started, I felt a tightness in my chest, I had fever. I realized if I hadn't quit playing the cello, I would have been a professional cellist by now. It made me feel small in my seat, I had fever, this 1 hour was like torture, it did not pass. In that moment, I wish I had a way to explain what was going on inside my body, a vocabulary. Now that moment eventually led me to the idea that I want to share with you today. Today, I want to give you a new perspective to hobbies, that starting and stopping hobbies are not failures. I want to show you the different kinds of hobbies we carry through life. Today, our world demands so much from us. It demands our attention, our energy, our productivity. And hobbies are one of these few places where our sparks can safely exist. Now, before we talk about our hobbies themselves, there's something important we need to understand. First, we need to look into the learning journey, because if we understand the learning journey, everything will make much more sense. Cognitive scientists Gray and Lindstedt discovered a way to explain the learning journey. Whenever we begin something new, flying an airplane, surfing, cycling, learning how to play a new instrument, we tend to pass through 3 natural phases: a plateau, a dip, and sometimes a leap. I will explain. A plateau is a steady phase. Now here you're doing your hobby as always, you're not getting better, you're not getting worse, you're basically repeating what you already know. It's stable, it's familiar. And then comes the dip. Now we've all been there. This is the part where everything suddenly feels a bit more difficult. But what really going on here is your brain is trying to invent a new way of doing things. And if you invent that new way, if that new method clicks, then you are on the leap. So you jump to a whole new level where the old you could have never reached. Let me just give a simple example. Let's say driving. You're learning how to drive. Oh, red light, green light, right, left. It's easy in the city center. Then you go to the German Autobahn. And then you say, maybe this is not for me. But if you stay in the game, if you practice, if you continue, eventually you start driving automatically, so you reach the leap. Now that we understand the plateau, the dip, and the leap, let's talk about something just as important: the kinds of hobbies we carry through life. Because not all hobbies carry the same role. Some belong to our past, some shape our present, some quietly follow us through our lifetime, and some are waiting for us in the future. And if we understand how these different kinds of hobbies work, it helps us shift easier through these phases. Now, let's come back to the hobby that you've been keeping on your mind. This hobby of yours is magical, people. While preparing this speech, I've had so many conversations with my classmates, with my colleagues, family members, and I realized all of you have these amazing hobbies that you never talk about, that you do now or you did in the past. Please share how you got injured, how you recovered, what you learned. This is golden. And in my words, this is called a past hobby. And past hobbies are not failures. They are identity treasures. Let me talk about my past hobbies. I will try to keep it short. I'm excited always about this topic. Formula One. So I was Mr. Formula One. I went to 3 races, parentheses. Going to a Formula One race is nothing to underestimate. You are competing with 300,000 people to go to the same Google Maps pinpoint. It's not easy. Hotel bookings, traffic, and all that. So I went to 3 races. I listened to all the podcasts. I read all the articles. Honestly, at one point, I thought if Ferrari gave me a call to fix their downforce problem, I could give it a shot. Eventually, life shifted. I slowed down. But the knowledge stayed. And whenever I hear the Formula One word today, I want to share fun facts. So it's your lucky day. This is a modern F1 steering wheel, and it has around 25 buttons. In a 90-second lap, the Formula One driver interacts 70 times with this steering wheel. Throughout the race, this makes an interaction every 1.3 seconds. It's crazy. Another hobby was chess. I didn't become a grandmaster, and I think I couldn't beat my younger brother. It's okay. It's totally okay. Because the knowledge stayed, and it still brings into conversation all the things I learned. Now, from my short cello career, I learned that the conductor was doing magic like Harry Potter with her wand. She was adjusting the volume, she was making a start and stop. Whenever I'm in the Elbphilharmonie today, I always focus on the conductor making their magic. So, as you can see, past hobbies never disappear. They become a part of your cultural personality, your confidence, and your identity. Now let's talk about active hobbies. These are the ones fighting for our precious evening energy. You come home from work, you're tired, you want to lie down, but you have something in your calendar, your hobby. Your energy level is not really there, and everything still becomes a negotiation. Do you show up fully to your hobby, or do you let go? Now, this is why active hobbies matter in a world on fire. Inside a hobby, you are the CEOs, and you control all the variables. And when you hit a dip, it becomes a decision point. Do you pivot to a new hobby, or do you stay and do you invent your way through? Let me show you how that worked for me. I play paddle now. Now, I got a lot of questions. Is that pickleball? Is that tennis? Is that squash? What is that? So let me just briefly explain a little commercial. Paddle is a sport played in a glass cage, and when the ball bounces off the window, the game continues. So you can imagine it's a very active game. It's played 2 against 2, something like a tennis ball, something smaller than a tennis racket. Now, my old way of playing, the first 100 games, I was basically smashing and praying it works. And when those balls were coming back to me, I realized I was I hit a ceiling. My playing was not working anymore. And I realized I was in a decision point. Do I pivot to a new hobby, as I always do? Or do I stay and invent my way through? This time I chose to stay, but I didn't just push harder. I experimented. I changed my grip, I adjusted my footwork, I changed the way I hit the ball. I treated the court like a laboratory. And little by little, the game started opening up again. This is the power of understanding the dip. It turns frustration into a choice. Now let's talk about the default hobbies. Now, these ones are our best friends. They follow us through our lifetime. Another parenthesis that active and default don't get mixed. Active hobbies come and go. Today, you're super interested. Tomorrow, it's going to be a past hobby. But default hobbies never disappear. And for me, it's this guy. Football has been there in every version of myself. And whenever I stop for months, it comes back naturally, like an old friend who doesn't ask you why you disappeared. Everybody in this room has at least one default hobby. I know it, and I think you're thinking about it right now. It could be swimming, dancing, singing, cycling, something that stays with you through changes, through chaos, and through different chapters of your lives. Default hobbies are anchors. They connect your past self to your future self. And now let's talk about our future hobbies. These are the ones waiting for us. They are our spark backlog. Now, we plan our careers, we plan our travels, we even plan what we're going to eat next Wednesday. Hardly any one of us plan their future play. Now, I recently got my motorcycle license, but I didn't start riding yet. But just knowing this baby is there waiting for me, it feels like a wrapped gift placed in the corner of my life. And it's not just a gift. It's a promise to myself that whenever I feel burned out, or whenever the world feels overwhelming, looking at this backlog reminds me that I'm not done yet. There are still versions of me that I haven't even met. A spark backlog is the ultimate proof that our story is still being written. All right, people, now we've come to the best part of any hobby. And no, it's not showing off to your friends with your new motorcycle, and it's not using your karate skills on the street. It is the beginnings. Beginnings are absolutely magical. This is where your learning curve is skyrocketing. Try snowboarding. Day 1, you're all over the place. Day 2, hey, wait, I'm actually moving. Try chess. Every hour brings another insight. Try the Rubik's Cube. You solve one side, and suddenly you feel like a genius. Early learnings light up our minds. Fast progress, high excitement, curiosity, momentum. This is the purest form of joy we have as adults. And here's the best part. Beginnings are free. So you can start as many hobbies as you want. You can thank me later. Now here's the framework I want to leave you with. Honor your past hobbies as they shaped who you are. Respect your active hobbies and realize when the dip comes, because that is the moment you either pivot to a new hobby or you stay and you invent your way through. Keep your default hobbies close as they keep you grounded. Plan your future hobbies, your sparks on the horizon, and embrace new beginnings, because beginnings remind us that we can always grow. Now, before I leave you, let me return to my cello. I no longer regret quitting. Today, I understand why I quit. I was in a dip, and I didn't know what a dip was. And now I do. And now you do too. So tonight, give yourself a gift, start a new hobby, revisit an old one, or add one to your horizon. Do something not because you must master it, but because beginnings, plateaus, dips, leaps, and passions are how we practice becoming fully alive. Thank you.